Hi, my name is Ryan Kohler, Hiring Optimization Guru, with today's hiring tip. This one's a little bit different, and the question is it time for you in HR to get an alter ego? Because if not, it's possible you might not be the right person for the job. Now, make sure you stick around to the end where you'll be able to download a tool that will help you get a jump start on improving your hiring results. All right, so alter ego. Hopefully you didn't stop listening because it's a little bit of a downer to say that you might not be the right person for the job, but hear me out. Recently, my mentor sent me a new book that just got published. It's called The Alter Ego Effect. And the book basically talks about how different situations or times in our life or different jobs or groups that we work with might require us to show up as somebody different than who we are. Think about Superman versus Clark Kent. One of those two is his alter ego, and he shows up differently in different situations between those two. Well, I took the book to heart. I really looked at my own life as an entrepreneur and a startup guy. You know, a lot of what I do is I'm the doer around here. I come up with the idea and I get the idea going, and I really pride myself in my ability to do certain things or to overcome or solve certain problems. But as our organization got bigger, it requires me today to show up as somebody different than who I naturally am. I need to show up as a coach, right? A coach of a football team, he never takes a snap, he never throws a ball, he never catches it. He stands on the sidelines and has to direct the team and make sure that they're doing their job the right way, but he doesn't get to be the doer. And so that's an evolution from player to coach that I have to make in order to help my organization be successful. I have to come up with an alter ego because being a coach really isn't me naturally. Well, I take a look at HR and I say, oh my goodness, maybe HR is having the same struggle. A lot of times when I look at hiring and HR as a whole, there's kind of two sides of the brain. Part of hiring requires compliance and risk aversion. That's kind of the ego that most HR professionals come naturally by. They're risk averse. They want to help the organization stay risk averse. They want to make sure they don't get sued. And therefore, they want to make sure that they're compliant and that their process is exact and precise and working the right way. The problem with that is that those things generally do not drive results at the end of the hiring process. They don't improve things. They don't optimize things. They force us to focus on doing the same thing every single time. And when the economy changes, when the competitive landscape changes, when the world changes because of something like the internet or mobile phones or social networks, that side of the brain or that ego of compliance and risk aversion actually stops us from being prepared for what comes next. That doesn't mean that you have to quit your job or you should be replaced by somebody else, but what it does mean is you might have to come up with an alter ego that will help you when it comes time to drive hiring results. I believe that alter ego is a marketer, not an HR person. Now, again, that doesn't mean that compliance isn't important. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't make sure that people stick to your process. But what it means is when it's time to actually try to improve things, you're going to have to take off your HR hat and put on your marketer hat. Or more specifically, you're going to have to embrace an ego of somebody else. Take off the glasses and the suit and put on your Superman cape, right? Because in this instance, if you want to drive hiring results, you're going to have to act like a marketer. So I wanted to take a second and explain exactly what a marketer's ego would look like, because that's actually my background, right? Marketers are different than HR people. It doesn't mean that they're better, they're just different. The way that they approach life and processes is different. In HR world, the process is very structured. It's very specific. It's very driven by rules and compliance. In a marketer's world, the process is very fluid. And the reason why a marketer's process is fluid is because they're constantly trying to figure out what needs to be changed in order to improve the results. So that's kind of step one, is that marketers are driven by the end result, not by the process. The process is simply a tool to get the end result. A lot of times the HR ego, the process is the goal. But for marketers, the end result is the goal. Number two, marketers understand their process, but not just specifically the steps in the process, but what the drivers are. They understand what the drivers are and how they impact the end result, right? So that's kind of step two in the marketer's ego. You need to understand not just the steps of the process, but what the drivers of the process are. Number three, they're focused externally on the target market, not on what makes their life easier, not what makes their company easier, but what drives the consumer's behavior. Again, in HR world, most of what our egos focus on is the company and ourselves. We're focused on what the company or what the hiring managers want, not on what the job seekers want. But the marketer ego says we need to focus externally on the target market, on the job seeker, and figure out what makes them tick and what they want. Next up is they are not just willing to try new things, they actually want to try new things. They wake up each day to try new things because trying new things is what will evolve and optimize the process. And evolving and optimizing the process is the only way to evolve or optimize the end result. No end result ever got better when the process stayed static and the same. So they're willing to try new things. In fact, they embrace trying new things. The next part, they test small. They test small changes and see how the results are and then make adjustments. They don't come up with massive initiatives. They don't try to change everything all at one time. They test small things. They come up with a new idea, they test it, they see if it works, and then they make adjustments, right? And finally, and most important, they never stop improving. They never stop evolving because again, the process is just a tool to get to the end result. So if we want a different end result next week, it will require changing our process or evolving our approach. So if you want to be successful, if you want to deliver hiring results for your company, you're going to have to come up with an alter ego when you approach hiring. And that alter ego is a marketer. It doesn't mean that what you've learned about HR and your compliance and those types of things aren't important, but they need to be balanced out by your ego of a marketer. That you approach the process as a tool to get to the end result, that you deeply understand what drives it and what makes it work, and that you're constantly trying to evolve it and adjust it in order to optimize the results that your company needs and wants in order to survive and grow and thrive. So if you want to get jump started on your marketer's ego, then download the tool below. It will give you step-by-step approaches to maximize your hiring process, whether it's maximizing job boards, whether it's maximizing your employee referral results, or just looking at your process from the job seeker's perspective. So download the tool below and it will help you get jump started on improving your results. Hope this video finds you well, and until next time, good luck hiring.